Okay, and we're live. Welcome to Love and Money Secrets TV. I'm your host, Dame Lillian Walker, and today we are doing the final wrap up and afterword for breaking the habit of being yourself. Congratulations, we got through 14 chapters and now we're doing the wrap up. And so let's just jump right in and see what this has to hold for you and for me. So one of the biggest lies we have come to believe about ourselves and our true nature is that we are nothing more than physical beings defined by a material reality, devoid of dimension and vital energy, and separate from God, which I trust you know by now is within us and all around us. To keep the truth about our real identity from us is not only enslaving, but it asserts that we are finite beings living a linear life that lacks real meaning. The dictum that there are no realms and no life beyond our physical world, and that we have no control over our destiny is not a truth that you and I should ever believe in. It is my desire that you have become empowered by a bit of knowledge in this work to help you see who you really are. You are a multidimensional being who creates your reality. Helping you accept this idea as your law and new belief has been my labor in this book. Breaking the habit of being yourself means that you are going to have to lose your mind and create a new one. But when we fully lay down the old, familiar self and life or mind and start creating the new, there is a moment between the two worlds that is bereft of anything we know. And most rush back from this void to the familiar. That place of uncertainty, the unknown, is what the maverick, the mystic, and the saint know to be fertile ground. So to live in the realm of the unpredictable is to be all potentials at once. And I hit the pause button right there because I think this is a distinction that if I keep on reading, we're going to miss. And he says here, to live in the realm of the unpredictable is to be all potentials at once. So what he's trying to tell us here and what he's giving us notice and calling our attention to is the fact that by us giving up the need to know what the outcome is going to be, how things are going to play out, trying to over control and micromanage every aspect of your life is to deny yourself the possibilities of the infinite that is really your divine birthright. So let me say it a different way. He's talking here to live in the realm of unpredictable is to be all potentials at once. So the need to know what's going to happen next, the need for, I'm going to say, an inordinate amount or an unusual amount of certainty. You know, Tony Robbins talks about the 6 emotional needs that all humans have, and one of them is certainty. One of the biggest unnerving things that are happening to human beings right now through the entire globe is they're uncertain. We are on a heightened awareness of uncertainty right now. We had that same uncertainty before, but our perception, because of this pandemic, our focus is on the pandemic, and we are using the pandemic as a reason to believe that we have more uncertainty right now. And to a certain degree, that's true. But the reality is we never, we may have had a false sense of certainty. The person who's had a job, for example, working for a company for 10, 15, 20, 30 years may have just received notice of having been laid off because of the corporation's uncertainty of what circumstances are. And perhaps things that were once thought to be reliable are no longer reliable. And so I say it's a perceptual thing because I had a realization about certainty. And I was even angered by this thought. I think I mentioned it in one of our earlier broadcasts, in fact. My son, I believe, was 4, maybe 5 years old, and we were watching the movie Fantasia, which is a Disney movie. And for whatever reason, I don't know what it was about that film, because as you know, there's no words. It's all beautiful classical music, and it's fantastic in terms of the fantasy. You see Mickey Mouse as this wizard, wielding his magic wand. And but for some reason, these emotions came up while I was watching that film, and the uncertainty that all of a sudden I was faced with that kind of hit me at kind of like a tangent was that there was no way of my guaranteeing that I was going to be around to see him grow up, to raise him to become a young man, to watch him graduate from high school, watch him graduate from college, eventually get married, have kids, and so forth. It disturbed me that I really could not guarantee that I was even going to wake up the next morning, even though at the time I was perfectly fine. I was healthy. I was doing great in my career. My business was growing and flourishing. I was making great income, living in a beautiful home, married. My daughter hadn't been born yet, but for some reason I became acutely aware of my vulnerability, that life has no guarantees, that even though my intention was to go to sleep and wake up the next morning and do whatever plans I had for the day, that really there is no way of absolutely positively guaranteeing that that is going to come to pass. And so in that space of that awareness, that brought huge feelings of vulnerability, which immediately made me mad. Imagine this going on while you're watching this Fantasia movie, and this is what's going through my head, that's interesting that I said heads. We're going to touch upon that in a minute. Anyhow, my son was sitting to my right on the sofa, and the reason why my subconscious mind said heads instead of head is because we do have two minds. We have our conscious awareness, that's the observer, which is where our true power lies. That is the part of us that is always divinely connected with the one, with God, the universe, the creator, the great I am. And then there's our egoic mind and our brain mind, which is just a filing. It's an organ that has the capacity to interpret vibrational frequencies of all sorts, using all 8 neurosomatic sensory systems of our body. And so the brain is the organ that interprets that information, and it is a record keeper of everything in the present and in the past. Actually, everything in the past, because the moment something happens, it's automatically in the past. So it becomes a memory. So those are different minds. Your awareness, as opposed to your ego brain, your egoic brain, which is there to protect you, of course, keep you small, but protect you. A lot of conditioning, and your brain. Scientists, biologists, neurophysicists, neuropsychologists, neuroscientists, neurologists, doctors at large. In science, we all know that there's 3 primary parts of the brain. You have the frontal lobe of the brain, which is what's responsible for all of our emotions. That's how we connect with other people. Then you have our limbic brain, the parietal lobe controls what we see visually and so forth. Spatial recognition, but you've got your limbic brain, which is much different from your reptilian brain. Your reptilian brain is millions of years old. That's why sometimes in a fight or flight response, especially men, in a fight or flight response, you are going to fight or you're going to flee. That's an old reptilian brain mechanism. All the blood flow goes away from here. Emotions are gone. This monkey mind, which is what keeps all the normal thoughts of all the to-dos and everything, all the figuring out, all the analytical thinking, that monkey brain is the blood flow just is sucked from here, and boom, it sinks to the back of the brain, to the reptilian brain. And now it's like fight or flight. This is not a time to be loving or compassionate or empathetic or to even be analytical. It's instinctual, reptilian response, and it's going to attack or it's going to bolt. Okay, that's our biology. We can't escape our biology. And so what Dr. Joe is bringing to our awareness, and the entire body of work, not just this book, but the entire body of work that him and so many countless other healers, mystics, doctors and scientists are really bringing to our attention here is that we have a divine birthright that we can tap into if we are willing to break the habit of being whoever our egoic and our organ brain has been, which, remember, he tells us that the brain is the language, thoughts are the language of the brain, and feelings are the language of the body. And you can now be the master of all of that with your conscious awareness. That's the good news. But we have to let go of our need to be certain. You know, it's kind of a juxtaposed pluralistic thing, in my opinion. I don't know that anybody else would language it that way, but I'm just going to say it's a very juxtaposed thing, because the thing that we want to hang on to the most, which is being able to control and to predict a certain outcome, is the very thing that we have to let go, so that now in quantum we can create a predictable outcome that is to our benefit, that we actually want. Not knowing the how, we have to give that up to the divine. We have to surrender and let that go, which is uncertain. But we got to know that we know that we know that it in fact is the path for us to not only become more conscious, for us to be more connected, for us to be more fulfilled, for us to live our true destiny, live a more empowered and impactful life. But it is the way of the truth. It's interesting. My dad had a very profound thing that he sent. It's been a while since he's actually sent me such a deep, profound thought. So I'm going to read just bits and pieces to you, because it kind of, it completely ties in with what we're talking about, because it has to do with belief and faith. Let me see if I can find it. So, and I love the fact that he speaks 7 languages. So he goes on to talk about the root words in Greek and in Hebrew as well. So he talks about, and this has to do with the word believe. The word believe in Greek is leamin, which is Lehaamin. And the one, he says here, the one who believes and trusts in the divine, in God, is going to be set free, is going to be saved. And then what he says is that the leamin, the belief, and the hemin, which is Heemin, is the one who trusts in the Almighty, is saved. But to believe is related with faith, with knowingness. And in Hebrew, those words are inun, E-N-U-N, and imuna, E-M-U-N-H. And to love. And if it's oftenly translated as, instead of to love, it's to believe, is what he's saying here. So what he's trying to get to here is that faith in your knowingness, your trust, that when, the way this all ties in is your trust and your knowingness. It has to do with belief and trust, knowing that when you connect to the divine, that you are aligned, and having that unwavering knowing and trust. You know what? It's like when you go to your computer and you upload a video, once it says it's complete, it's done, it's done. There's no reason for you to believe otherwise, for you to doubt, to guess it, to second guess, to have 2, 3, 4 backup plans. No, you uploaded that into the cloud. Or like when I upload videos here into YouTube, when I upload something and I get the completion that it's done, I believe it and I trust that it's there. And sure enough, I don't even, I do check the YouTube channel to see that it looks the way I want it to look and so forth, but it's not a matter that it's not going to be there. I know that it's there. Now it's just whatever things I want to tweak, which is no difference than you and I when we go into meditation and we are now putting our ego in its proper place. You're claiming your mastery over your ego, and over your organ brain and over your physical body, because your brain controls your body. Now you're the master. The brain and the ego are not the default masters. You're the master. You're taking ownership of that. And now you can quantum create the realities that you want. And even in light of things that are unwanted. Last week, I had a couple things that went down in my business that were not wanted. I'm just going to stop. I'm not going to, because I don't want to create any more of that in my future. I'm just going to say that it was unpleasant. I had two things come up the exact same day. They were both identical from two different parts. And I thought, the universe is trying to tell me something here. And then it took me about 24 hours and I realized this, just like everything else that I have that is unwanted, that's on a smaller scale, I can morph that into the wanted, just like I've done all this other stuff that I've molded, the energy, potential waveforms of energy. I've put my hands on those waveforms and turned them into particles by what? Doing the formula that Dr. Joe talks about, which is hit the pause button. I'm going to slow down my breath, slow down my heart rate, and slow down my brain waves. And now that I've commanded my brain to go into theta, and I feel that deeper level of relaxation and that downshift, now I'm primed and ready to mold that potential wave energy. And I can say, okay, this is what I want. I don't have to rehash the unwanted. I don't need to bring that into quantum. That's already part of the past. So it's like, oh, this is how it's going to morph into. And it's like, oh, I'm going to be so happy and excited that this is what's going to happen. And yes, yes, yes. Then I give gratitude and appreciation, which is the final bow on my gift to quantum. I push the upload button, which is the let go and surrender. And then I know that it is done. Now, how does this apply to relationships? Because I'm sure, this is Love and Money Secrets TV at the heart of everything, 100%. I don't care if it's finances, relationships, if it's business dealings, if it's things having to do with housing, health issues, 100%. Everything at the core is love. Why? Because God is love. That is the universal energy that we are connecting when we use our awareness, is that divine love. It's that unconditional divine love, which is supremely powerful, which gives us certain insights and inspirations because we've tapped into that realm. We are tapping into that infinite source of intelligence. Any thought that ever has been, is, or will be is in that pool. It's in you and all around you, and all you have to do is pay attention. By definition, you have been part of this study of breaking the habit of being yourself. You are tuned in, tapped in, turned on far more than you recognize. It is not a coincidence that you are on this broadcast, that you are watching this at this point in time. There are so many incredible things that are happening right now. I was just talking to somebody yesterday, and one of the things, they were having some frustrations because during the summertime, teachers are not paid, yet they're having all these online meetings and things that they're having to organize. And so it's, even though they're supposed to be out there working, and this person happens to be also battling a health issue, some sort of infection that has come upon her. It's not COVID, but so needless to say, her body is not feeling good. So she is legitimately not feeling well. Inside that space, though, she realized that she was out of balance and that she wasn't feeling good, not just because of the health condition, but there were other greater energies that were in her midst and inside her, that her body, as a vibrational frequency antenna, was picking up that didn't feel good to her. So what did she do? So she took it upon herself. I love she did this. I thought this is so awesome. She said, she decided to lay down, and then she took a few minutes. She wrote down some of the feelings that she was having. And as she was writing, she started writing where it was kind of like in a stream of consciousness. And all of a sudden, these answers started to come out of her pen. And she was so delighted. All of a sudden, she's like, she didn't think she was that aligned. But as she digested these vibrational frequencies, and for her, it actually was not pen and paper. It was, she sat down and typed it on her computer. And she was amazed. She goes, she was hearing, she was receiving the downloads, these thoughts that were like very refreshing to her. And that's available for you as well as for me. It's available to all of us. The more we do it, the more we're encouraged to do it, the more benefit from that information, that knowledge that we have, that we didn't have a moment before, the more you're going to want to do this work. So let's move on to the next section here, because we're going to finish this section today. And so here we go. So as he said, to live in the realm of the unpredictable is to be all potentials at once. Can you become comfortable in this empty space? If you can, you are at the nexus of a great creative power, the I am. To biologically, energetically, physically, emotionally, chemically, neurologically, and genetically change ourselves, and to stop living by the conscious or unconscious, I should rather say, because that's what it said. So correction. Change ourselves and to stop living by the unconscious affirmation that competition, strife, success, fame, physical beauty, sexuality, possessions, and power are the be-all, end-all in life is when we break from the chains of the mundane. I fear that this so-called recipe for ultimate success in life has kept us looking outside of ourselves for answers and true happiness, when the real answers and true joy have always been within. So we're going to stop here a second, because one of the things that I wanted to also point out to you is that this work is also powerful for you to use in personal relationships. How often do men and women, whether you're single, whether you're in a committed relationship, or maybe you're just dating, or maybe you've been married for a short time, maybe you've been married for a very long time, but no matter what, there's a reason why the divine put male and female on earth. It's because it creates a balance. It's amazing. If you look, women are supposed to be estrogen dominant, men are supposed to be testosterone dominant. When a man and a woman properly come together, a man's testosterone, a man will be more masculine, will naturally have a chemical reaction of creating more testosterone, which increases the estrogen in the woman. It's the way both behave towards each other. This increases a man's masculinity and his testosterone. And the woman's response is that as she receives that energy, her estrogen, her desire, her passion also increases. Therefore, it creates more of a magnetic response towards a man and a woman. I don't care how successful a woman is, how successful a man is, you can have millions, hundreds of millions, billions of dollars, but if you're completely alone and you don't have your counterpart, the female, her male, divine masculine, and the divine masculine, his female, some of that success is empty. And that's why you see it's more evident with people who are celebrities that we see in the limelight, where they have drug addictions, pornography addictions, alcohol addictions, gaming addictions, gambling addictions, all sorts of, there's no limit to the type of addictions that you can have. And it's because they're trying desperately to balance themselves. Maybe their testosterone isn't quite as high as it should be. They need, maybe their estrogen levels, if they're depressed and they're angry, that's a sign in a man that their testosterone levels are waning. A man who constantly gets angry, that's not a sign. Scientists used to think that that was a sign of high testosterone. And what they found recently is the opposite. Men who are blowing up, men who are angry, frustrated, men who are depressed, that's a sign of low testosterone. They need to increase their testosterone. They need to do something challenging. They need to fix the problem. They need to overcome something. They need to physically move their bodies. They need to go work out, lift weights. Working out, lifting weights, running, riding bikes, that increases a man's testosterone. A woman who is in the same boat, let's say, has the exact opposite problem. She has low estrogen. Her testosterone is too high, her estrogen is too low. So she needs to get back in touch. Instead of going to work out, which will just increase her testosterone, she needs to take a chill pill. She needs to relax. She needs to nurture herself. She needs to take a warm, sudsy, yummy bath. She needs to dance. She needs to go out and be one with nature. She needs to pick up the phone and talk to her girlfriends. If she's in a committed relationship and she has a divine, a wonderful masculine who is in his power and he is man enough and emotionally mature and clean, where he's able to he can penetrate that space, allowing her to come forward and say, this is what's troubling me. And he doesn't have to fix anything. He just needs to be that safe space. And he has to be big enough of a man to receive what it is that she's trying to emotionally share, and to give her the safety of being vulnerable. That'll increase her estrogen, which is going to make him more attracted to her. That's going to increase his testosterone. So now that magnetizes the two. What's interesting is that when women, a healthy woman, a woman who is not, whacked out, but a healthy woman will talk herself into, maybe for 5 or 10 or 15 minutes, saying, okay, this went wrong today, and oh my gosh, and maybe it's coming across as a complaint, but yeah, this is a challenge, and oh my gosh, I couldn't get my computer to do this, and I had this technical problem, and I had these people cancel, and blah blah blah. But you know what, it's like, it turned out actually a pretty good day, because I had this happen, and then I stopped by 31 flavors and I got myself an ice cream, and gosh, there's this new flavor. It's called Jamocha almond fudge with pralines and cream, and oh my gosh, it was so good. And he's like, just tell me a little bit more about that. And then she feels so much better after the whole thing is all resolved. So, but if you're disconnected, this dynamic isn't going to happen. And instead, she's going to complain. He's going to run for the hills. And that's not to say that men don't have to run for the hills. Men do have to have their cave time. They need to, ladies, if you're a girl and you're watching this, you got to know you can't be around your guy 24/7. That is not healthy. It's not healthy for you, and it's not healthy for him. He needs to get away to increase his testosterone. If he sticks around you 24/7, his testosterone is going to drop, and it's going to be a mess for both of you. And your estrogen is going to drop, and your testosterone is going to go up. Now it's the clash of the titans, basically. So, and if you don't know about some of these principles, doing Dr. Joe's work is going to give you an incredible amount of insight into this. I would encourage you to, if you want some other resources that I can point you in the direction of, that just comment below, and I will be more than happy to share some of those with you. Part of Love and Money Secrets TV is to reveal those secrets that aren't talked enough about in our societies, in our regular midst. But it's nobody's responsibility but your own to take responsibility for your own happiness, your own well-being, your own self-love. When can you have self-love? The day that you decide, from this tape forward, I'm going to love myself unconditionally, no matter what, with all my flaws, with all my good things and all my bad things. I'm going to accept, love, and enjoy myself for who I am, my uniqueness, my beauty. And if you can start to do that by just making that choice, and then start to work on that, like, I don't even really know how to do this, but I know that this is what I'm choosing to do. And the same thing with taking responsibility in other aspects of your life. Choose to be happy. That is a choice. Just like choosing to love yourself, you can choose to be happy, and watch your love grow, watch your happiness grow, and get to know who the heck you truly are. That is part of what Dr. Joe's work is, breaking the habit of being the old you, the negative Nancy, the one who's sick, whether it's physically, emotionally, psychologically, or spiritually, it doesn't matter. The point is, something's off, or several things are off. You're going to get in balance now. Let's move on here to the next section here. I fear that the so-called recipe for ultimate success in life has kept us looking outside of ourselves for answers and true happiness, when the real answers and true joy have always been within. That's what I just said. So where and how do we find our true self? Isn't it funny that it seems like a mystery? And it's been with us all along. And we're all looking out there, and it's all right here. That's where the secrets of the universe are. So, do we create a persona that is shaped by associations with the outer environment, which perpetrates the lie? It's part of wearing that mask. A lot of people are walking around the world with masks. This is the mask that I want you all to see instead of the true authentic you. So, or do we identify with something within us that is as real as everything outside us and create a unique identity which has awareness and a mind that we can emulate? Wow, a mind that we can emulate. That's right. It is that infinite resource of information and intelligence, personal and universal, that is intrinsic to all human beings. It is an energetic consciousness that is filled with such coherence, heart and brain coherence, that when it moves, when that energy moves through us, we can only call it love. Okay, I got to stop and tell you here, because if you haven't had a mystical experience yet, it's like, I'm going to give you like a little peek. One of life's coming attractions, as you break the habit of being yourself, you become your true authentic self. You start to get heart and brain coherence. You are receiving the energy from the divine, from God Almighty Himself, the Lord, the great creator, the universal intelligence. It comes in literally through your head. The energy will come through your head, into your heart, down to your, all the way through your energy centers, down to your root chakra, ultimately, eventually going into the earth. And it will now cycle through back up again. It's not something that you are necessarily, or I should say, I'm going to speak for myself. I'm not necessarily conscious of while it's happening, because sometimes when you're meditating, you're having this experience that your attention is on that, you're the awareness of that. So this is a byproduct. There are meditations. Oh, you got to go to Dr. Joe's website. He has Blessing of the Energy Centers. You have Botek 1, 2, 3, 4. I think on his website he has up to 5, but he has actually shared with us. I know he has 6 and 7, and possibly 8. I'm not sure if he has 8, but I have 6, 7. But I don't believe those are available on the site. But those meditations actually open up your energy centers to facilitate this process. Might be something, if this is resonating with you, it might be a meditation you might want to go ahead and pick up. But getting back to the love part, because this is the exciting thing. We have an intellectual notion of what love is. And then we have the emotional experience of the different shades of love, philanthropic love. We have brotherly love also, philos love. We have agape love. We have eros love. I know I'm probably forgetting one. I don't remember what the other one, the other type of love is. So there's different shades of love. But when you start to do this work, I'll never forget on March 23rd, when I had that mystical experience, the love that I felt like my regular love, if you will. I don't want to make it ordinary, but I felt a genuine type of love when I always start my meditations. Every time I do these broadcasts, I have this joyous love feeling, because I'm getting ready to share this with you. But so when I went into this meditation, the thing was that I was, as you may or may not know, I was taken to the 6th dimension, which blew my mind because I didn't even know that was a potential for me to experience. So that was a very pleasant, unexpected surprise. So as I was there, I was already feeling a really wonderful kind of a euphoric love, bliss-filled, exciting love, when all of a sudden I was taken to this 6th dimension, and I said, once in the 6th dimension, surely they're like, oh my gosh, this love is amazing. Like, surely there can't be any greater love than this. And I was just basking and reveling. At the same time, I was having this communication with these thousands of beings. And at the same time, I also had these other, they were seventh dimensional beings that were there in the sixth dimension. They were doing this adjustment on me. And so I was shaking uncontrollably. And then I was having one of the most clearest communications I've ever had, but I was having it with an entire group at the same time, but they were all communicating in one, I shouldn't say voice because I didn't hear that kind of a voice. It was a different type of sensation, but everything was very pristine, clear. And all of the while I was also thinking, it's like, surely there can't be, this has got to be the ultimate. It's got to be the ultimate love. And then I was escorted. They said, are you ready for the next dimension? They escorted me to the next dimension, the seventh dimension, and then the eighth dimension. You can watch the video to find out. The point is, you can, as a human being, you will experience greater dimensions, greater densities, greater experiences in loves that any words that I have used in this broadcast or ever, just, it falls short. It's just scratching the surface. You have to experience it. And that's something that is very individual for every person. And you've heard of other people having certain accounts of this. And the thing is, it's not a one-time thing. This is something that you don't know when it's going to happen, but when it does, because part of this whole work, which can, it's paradoxical. You have that juxtaposition where it's like, yeah, you want that again, but you have to let it go. You just have to be. It's not about the work. Anytime you try, anytime you effort to make something happen, that stops your meditative practice. Okay, I don't know what's going on. I keep on smelling a smoking type of and it's getting stronger. So it's one of two things. Either someone's burning something and it's a pleasant smell. So I don't know if someone's burning something in this building, or it could be that my ancestors are here with me, because sometimes when I do meditations, I get that, and then I check with other people and they're like, no, I'm the only one who's smelling it. So then I know it's more of one of the clairsentient abilities that I have, which just signals to me that something's going up. Oh, here's a little orb I saw move by. Anyhow, so let's get back here to moving on to the next section here. And I hope that this is helping you, at least giving you a glimmer of insight, a little crack, an opening that you can make your way through. So it is an energetic consciousness that is filled with such coherence that when it moves through us, we can only call it love. When the door opens, the frequency carries such vital information that it changes who we are from within. This is an experience that I have humbly learned to live for. I've got to echo that. For me too. It's like, oh my gosh, if I could have those type of experiences every single day, that would be so phenomenal. But that's not to say that I don't have phenomenal experiences. I have pretty awesome experiences in and out of meditation. And as you learn to bring in meditation and other things that you're doing, then you'll find that you're not just meditating when you do a formal meditation where you sit down, close your eyes, back, against an upright chair like this, or you're sitting down and doing your practice, or you could be doing a walking meditation where you're walking outside, but you can learn to do a meditation as you're brushing your teeth, as you're taking a shower. That's a very cool experience. As you take a bath, doing a bath meditation, I gotta tell you, that is the most refreshing, resetting, energetically, energy practice I think that you can do. There's something about the water touching every square inch of your body. And as you set certain intentions to the water and you are connected to the divine, wow, there's something very, very powerful. The only other place where I know that you can have a similar type thing is having your feet in the water at the beach and you're in a meditation, this instant grounding and the electricity that you feel coming up through your feet that shoots up, but it doesn't happen right away. It doesn't happen, at least for me, it didn't happen right away. It took years and years and years. I'm not saying that it's going to take you years and years of meditation. The whole point of this whole channel is to collapse time frames and give you the shortcuts so that you can get to those results faster, because the clock is ticking and we need you. The collective needs you, every being on this earth, everything that's alive, the earth included, which the earth is an organism. We need you to get more connected and in command and mastery of your ego and your brain and your body so that you are higher vibrationally. And that helps all of us. It helps all of us on earth and even in the cosmos. Okay, so it is my hope that you know that you always have access to it if you choose. But if you live life as a materialist, wow, just even reading that makes me feel heavy. Isn't that funny? Then you will struggle with its existence. Why? Well, realists will use their senses to define reality. And if they can't see it, taste it, smell it, touch it, or hear it, then it doesn't exist, right? This duality is a perfect scheme for keeping people lost in the illusion. Just keep their attention on an outer reality, sound familiar? That is ultimately so sensually pleasurable or chaotic, and going within will seem so difficult. Your attention is where your energy is. Your attention is where your energy is. Your attention is where your energy is. I'm going to say it 6 more times. Tesla said, the secret is in the 3, 6, 9. So we're going to say it 6 more times because this is a distinction. This is something you need to tattoo in your memory. Your attention is where your energy is. 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 Got it? Okay. Put all of your attention on the external material world, and that becomes your investment in reality. So as you focus outward to all those things that are unwanted, if you put more attention and more focus, then more energy is going to go into that. What are you going to get more of? That which was in your past, you're dragging it to the future so that it comes to your present again. No bueno. On the contrary, command your mindfulness to unfold a deeper aspect of yourself, and your energy will expand that reality. Hit the pause button. One thing that I've started doing recently, since last week, is in my meditation, as I call in all the healing energies from all across all time, dimension, space, and realities, I ask for them to reveal to me a higher perspective. Because from this perspective, I'm limited. But if I can see from a higher perspective, different change of landscape, different perspective, different insights. So I want a higher realm perspective to see what's really going on. It's like if you look at the Mona Lisa and they only let you see her right eye, you don't even know it's the Mona Lisa. If they expand it out and let you see maybe the right eye on her nose, you still don't know it's the Mona Lisa. You can't tell. You have to have a much broader perspective until you see the whole painting. You go, it's the Mona Lisa. It's beautiful. But maybe just looking at her eye, you go, that's not even a very good looking eye. It's not very pretty at all. It's not very attractive. You're like, in fact, I can see a lot of flaws here that are very unappealing to me. It's not until you take a step back and you have that higher perspective, you're like, it's a masterpiece. So, as he says here, on the contrary, command your mindfulness to unfold a deeper aspect of yourself, and your energy will expand. Your energy will expand that reality. You, as a human being, have the freedom to place your awareness on anything. thing. To develop your ability to manage and properly use this abundance of power, that's your gift. Where you put your thoughts and your awareness becomes your reality. If you stop believing that thought is real, you will fall back into materialism and stop doing the work. You'll simply choose some emotional addiction or habit for immediate gratification and then talk yourself out of possibility. How sad. It's you talking your own self out because of fear of success, fear of failure, doubt, fear of you fill in the blank. Not cool. That's not a loving way to treat you. And if you're not treating you with love, how can you expect the world to mirror back treating you with love? You have to have self love first and love yourself enough to know that thoughts are things that your awareness can master your ego and your brain, as well as give commands to your body so that you can create a new body and it'll catch up with the new mind. And now, as you stay in that focused awareness, that's the work, self mastery. Something happens, it's cool to laugh, have joy, blah, blah, blah. It's okay to feel anger. But when you see this is making me angry, hit the pause button. Why is this making me angry? Or this is making me upset. This is making me frustrated. Whatever that vibe is, whatever language label you give to it, say, okay, why am I feeling this? What's at the root here? When was the last time I felt this way? When I was a kid, 0 to 7 years old, when would I feel this type of emotion? That's the work. Your awareness to what's at the root can facilitate you now letting it go. You're like, oh, I see what's at hand here. I'm interpreting this as this. And now you can come into meditation and say, okay, I need to release and let this go. So herein lies the dilemma. The future reality we create in our minds does not yet provide any sensory feedback. And by the quantum model, our senses should be the last to experience what we create. For this reason, many of us make materialism our law once again, and we go unconscious. So I want to remind you that all material comes. So all material things come from the invisible field of the immaterial. So he wants to remind us here. I want to remind you that all things material come from the invisible field of the immaterial, beyond space and time. Simply said, by planting seeds in the world, you see that in time, they bear fruit. If you can experience a dream so completely in your mind and emotion within the inner world of potentials, then it has already happened. So just surrender. It has to sprout into your outer life. It is the law. So, but here's the hardest part of this whole process: making or taking the time for your precious self to actually do it. That's it. You just have to do it. And it's called a practice because you practice it every day. You don't practice it once a week, once a month. No, 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 no. Like brushing your teeth. You brush your teeth a couple times a day, first thing in the morning, before you go to bed at night. So you do it, you practice every day. And you want to do it because you have wonderful outcomes. And you're going to continuously get this wonderful feedback. And that's it. We are divine creators. We truly are. It is what we do when we are inspired and pressed to know more. I don't know about you, but I definitely want to know more. I am hungry for more. But you and I are also creatures of habit. So I'm making it my habit to be hungry for more. I don't know if you're with me on that one. We are creatures of habit. We develop habits for everything. We possess not one, not two, 3 brains that allow us to evolve from knowledge to experience to wisdom, to make whatever we learn implicit through the repetition of experience. We can teach the body to become the mind. That is our definition of habit. The problem is that we have developed habits that limit our true greatness. The survival emotions, which are so addictive, cause us to live with limitation, feeling separate from the source, and forget we were creators. We're all creators. We are co-creators. So in fact, the corresponding states of mind that correlate with stress truly are reasons why we are controlled by our emotions, live by a lower denominator of energy, and are enslaved by a set of beliefs that are rooted in fear. These so-called normal psychological states have been accepted by most as ordinary and common. They are the real altered states of consciousness, which is sad because it's kind of like backwards programming. But it seems like we had to, we're born as our true selves. We have to get away from ourselves to come back and recognize, accept, and embrace the truth of who we truly are and all of our magnificence. Isn't that interesting? So hence, I want to emphasize that anxiety, depression, frustration, anger, guilt, pain, worry, and sadness, the emotions regularly expressed by billions of people, are why the masses live life knocked out of balance and altered from the true self. And maybe the supposed to altered states of consciousness achieved in meditation during true mystical moments are actually natural human states of consciousness that we should strive to live by on a regular basis. I accept the contention, or I accept that contention as my truth. I'm going to second that. I also accept that contention as my truth. It's time to wake up and to be the living example of truth. It's not enough to espouse these understandings. It's time to live them, demonstrate them, and be at cause in all areas of our lives. When you and I embody such ideals as truth and make them a habit, then they innately become part of us. Okay, I'm going to share with you. One of the things that I noticed that with this work, it just automatically as a byproduct and comes hand in hand is as you learn to apply. Some of you may have been brought to this work because you wanted to break some sort of addiction, alcohol, drugs, gambling, pornography, shopping, working, whatever, maybe doing a particular sport, doesn't matter. Others of you came to this work because you simply wanted to break the habit of being yourself, to get rid of whatever disease, whatever malaise. Maybe you have a susceptibility to getting sick all the time. Maybe you've suffered from some sort of health condition, rheumatoid arthritis. It could be anything. It could be a form of cancer or cancer itself, endometriosis. I mean, any malady for that matter. It doesn't really matter what brought you to this work. The thing is, as humans, our brains do funny things to us. I'm going to say because it does funny things to me. And so I will think, oh, yes, I can use this for this aspect of my life. For example, my health. I can use it for this aspect for my life, but then maybe I will have something in business and I could use that same energy. It's all energy. It doesn't make any difference. As far as the universe is concerned, everything is matter and everything is energy. A lot of it is in potential waveforms, and what we can see with our 3D eyes is, particle to particle material. But I have a problem which sometimes doesn't manifest as an object, or maybe it is. Maybe it's your car breaking down. Make no mistakes, you can use this to fix your broken car too. Like I said, it works for everything, but we don't want to believe. We want to think, oh no, it's only to heal this. I've seen and I've heard people fix watches, multiple watches, get cars that wouldn't start, get cars to start. I'm like, so this energy doesn't discriminate. It is the law of attraction, because that's the only, we don't have a law of repulsion. Everything is attraction. Either something is attractive in the negative or the positive. We are in a law of attraction. It's one of the laws of the universe is the law of attraction. And what you're doing here is by knowing that your awareness and your free will can be used to be focused. Now your energy is going to go where you focus it. And now you're able to mold the clay. You're able to get what it is that you want. You focus on what it is that you want with that free will and that focus, your mindfulness. And now you're going to get what you want. So the trick is to learn to use this for everything, anything and everything that you have in your life. You have a legal matter that's not going your way. You can use this to affect a better outcome. You have a personal relationship issue. You know, we can't control anybody. We can barely control ourselves. So this is about letting go and surrendering and going to that quiet space, getting into theta, like the video that I have on how to get into theta state. You hit the pause button, you go into theta state, and then you create in quantum what it is that you want. And you find your place of love where you love yourself unconditionally and you are just reveling in the love, knowing that you placed the order and that what it is that you want is going to be delivered. You don't know when, you don't know how. And I threw in, and I've been doing this for a while now, I go, and it doesn't matter. I don't know when, I don't know how, and it doesn't matter. I know that the order's in. So it's like no different than when I order something from Amazon. I put my order, I pay for it, hit the send button. Guess what? I get a confirmation of my order. I don't know when, I don't know how, but I know that that package is going to be delivered. This is the exact same thing. As above, so below. Just as we have it happening in 3D, that's how it happens in 5D. So since we are wired to create habits, wouldn't it be an awesome habit to embody? Join me. I'm wanting to make this a habit where I pass the universal brush. 100% of my life is just work. That's what I'm working on. So why not make true greatness, compassion, genius, ingenuity, empowerment, love, awareness, generosity, healing, quantum manifestation, and divinity our new habits? Doesn't that sound juicy? Sounds juicy to me. To remove the layers of personal emotions we decided to memorize. That's right, we memorize them. To memorize as our identity, to shed our selfish limitations that we have given such power to abandon false beliefs and perceptions about the nature of reality and self, to overcome our neural habituations of destructive traits that repeatedly undermine our evolution, and to relinquish the attitudes that have kept us from knowing who we really are all part of finding the true self. So there's an aspect of the self that is a benevolent being who waits behind all of those veils. This is who we are when we are not feeling threatened, fearing lost, trying to please everyone, racing to succeed, and scrambling to get to the top at any cost, regretting the past, or feeling inferior, hopeless, desperate, or greedy, just to name a few. When we overcome and remove whatever stands in the way of our infinite power and self, we are demonstrating a noble deed, not only for ourselves, but for all of humanity. So the greatest habit you will ever break is the habit of being yourself. And the greatest habit you will ever create is the habit of expressing the divine through you. That is when you inhabit your true nature and identity. It is to inhabit yourself. So at the end of his book, you have the book now. We highly recommend that you buy the book in Kindle as well as paperback form. If you open up your book at the Appendix A, you're going to see the body induction. Week 1. Now, just to recap, induction is when you fan out your electromagnetic field using the breath and through your focused awareness and attention in a specific pattern. You are going to fan out your induction field. You are going to also create energy flow from your first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth energy center. So this is going to flow. This is going to get the energy moving. It's going to get your cerebrospinal fluid flowing, so that instead of it cycling twice in a 24-hour period, it's going to cycle with every inhalation and exhalation. Inhalation, the cerebrospinal fluid goes up, and with exhalation, it's released from the top and then it flows back down. So now you're going to be having multiple cycles per the duration of your meditation, which is hugely beneficial to your entire body and your brain. It also helps open up your pineal gland if it's not already open. It helps grow the transducer at the top of your pineal gland. It helps you receive insights and intuition through your pineal gland. It gives you mystical, magical experiences. There's so many benefits. It also increases the length of your telomeres, your DNA expression. We've talked about the production of vasopressin, dimethyltryptamine, benzodiazepine. The list goes on and on and on. You've already experienced this, probably not once, but twice, because most of you were probably part of reading Breaking the Habit of Becoming Yourself, which was 14 chapters plus the afterwards. That's 15 different, it's actually more than 15 videos, because some of the chapters were so long we had to do more than one video, because it was over an hour and a half, 2 hours long. So, but you have those 14 chapters and the afterward, and now you have these 14 chapters plus the afterward that we are just now finishing today. So I want to encourage you to do the body induction, follow it. If you have a recorder, you can record yourself in your own voice doing it. Better than that yet, though, I would encourage you to just go to Dr. Joe's site, buy his meditations. The music, he has this incredible music. It has these sacred geometrical tones and sounds. He has a way of inducing induction through his voice. He does everything with intention to increase the maximum outcome for us. So you're getting a steal of a deal. I don't make any money off of you buying any of his meditations. Separate pocket, that has nothing to do with me. I don't believe he has an affiliate program. I wish he did, because I would sign up to be an affiliate. But the bottom line is that's such a high quality production, and you will benefit. I can only speak for myself. I have had immense amount of benefit, and everyone who I know that is an advanced student, we've all had huge benefit from it. And so my wish for you, my desire for you, my dream for you is that you would have that same incredible benefit. And yeah, so that is it. We are done. Yay, we finished Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. So I want to absolutely shower you with my love from my heart to yours. Thank you for tuning in, tapping, and turning on to Love and Money Secrets TV. And please like this video if this message resonated with you. Like, share, and of course, subscribe to the channel so that you can continue to get notifications. Hit that bell button to receive the notifications. Of course, we've got some exciting things planned here. The next book, I'm not going to reveal here the next book that's going to be written. I've purchased a couple of other books that I am just really excited. They integrate so well with Dr. Joe's work. It all goes hand in hand in the divine's timing for me to be made aware of. These books are so profound that I know that whoever's on the other side of this video watching this is going to be just jazzed that they've been made aware of this information. So I do have a special message. I'm going to do a separate video for that. Was just revealed to me yesterday. It's going to be a brief video, but it was a download that I received yesterday during my walking meditation. And so I'm going to share that with you. So if you want to tune in, tap in, turn on for that, you're more than welcome to do that. All right. So as always, ciao for now. And thank you from the bottom of my heart for joining us here today. All righty.